Hey, you're watching Rockin' and Rollin'. I'm Dan.
I'm Jenna.
And we're the Thompsons.
And we've got a story to tell you.
All right, so last time we left you guys, we had just gone to Costco to get some tires repaired that were leaking some air. And we found out at Costco that it was not the tires. It was, in fact, the wheels were cracked and leaking air. And they didn't have any replacements they could sell us. So the best they could do was just pump us back full of air and send us on the road. And we just truly felt like God is calling us to this adventure, and God said go. So we went. And so we drove just a couple hours down the road to Cottonwood, Arizona, so that I could meet up with some friends of ours that are also doing the full-time RV lifestyle. Now, my buddy Luke, I used to work with at the camp, so that's how we know each other. And they kind of have a different take on the full-time RV living lifestyle, okay? We're kind of more the traveling sort of lifestyle, and they're more the homesteading lifestyle, okay? It's also very popular. You plant your home, I keep punching you in the face. You plant your home. So you plant your RV on a plot of land where you actually want to live, and you start homesteading. You start growing your own crops, you start raising some animals and stuff like that. So kind of still sort of off the grid living, but more the homesteading, farming sort of take on it. So anyway, we thought it'd be really cool to kind of catch up with them and get some tips and tricks for living in such a small space and stuff.
Yeah, so we pulled in. It was pretty muddy to begin with, so we'll show you some footage of this guy trying to get the trailer in.
Yeah, so those of you that aren't familiar with an Arizona monsoon, okay, right around July, we get this weather phenomenon called monsoons, and that's where occasionally in the afternoon a storm will roll in and just dump rain. They call it a microburst.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a very small area will just get dumped upon, and thunder and lightning and crazy winds, but only in a tiny confined area.
It's actually pretty cool. It's one of my favorite things about Arizona. But this time it was a little bit different. Traveling in an RV and dealing with monsoons and rain is a bit trickier than just being in a house and watching the cool rain outside your window.
So to sort of preface this story a little bit, Cottonwood hadn't really seen a good monsoon yet this season. So Luke had actually taken a tractor and kind of graded a little area where I could kind of pull through and park my RV. It was very nice of him to do that. And then a monsoon rolled in and just dumped water on it the day before we arrived. So it was incredibly muddy. So we had a little bit of trouble kind of pulling it through the mud. And I thought it was actually kind of fun because it really gave me a kind of a safe space to test out what the truck and the fifth wheel can actually do. You know,
real fun. Yeah.
I thought it was fun. Whatever. Man, ain't this a Ford commercial if you've ever seen it? Anyway, so as we finally get backed into the parking spot, another monsoon starts to roll in.
And we didn't even unhitch yet. We literally pulled up, started saying our hellos, and it just started dumping. That's how fast these things come on. There's no warning, they just come.
So out of nowhere, 40 to 50 mile an hour winds, it starts dumping rain. So we don't even unhitch the truck, we don't level, we don't do anything. We just run for cover inside of our friend's RV. Right?
Storm's rolling in. So we're gonna hold off leveling just yet. We'll leave it hitched up.
So we all run into their RV for cover. We're planning to do dinner with them, so we just figure, well, we'll just hang out while the storm passes and we'll unhitch later. And as we're in there, it's getting a little bit more gusty, a little bit more rain, starting to panic a little bit more.
So yeah, like I mentioned, they're, wind gusts of 40 to 50 miles an hour. And so it's just blowing limbs off trees. And then we hear, in the distance, crack, and we see a tree fall down. And we're like, oh no, because their RV is parked under a couple of trees.
Yeah, and here Luke is telling us it's fine. These are soft trees. It's totally fine and can't do anything.
So anyway, we're inside. We're freaking out. The kids are screaming. And then all of a sudden we hear crack, boom, on top of their RV. And this happened. All right, so we're just hanging out here. We heard a big crash. Thought I might look out the window and see if I can tell what that big crash was. Oh. Would you look at that? Oh. All right.
So we heard the crack. Nothing really major seemed to have happened other than, of course, we see out the window an entire giant part of the tree fallen on their trailer. Nothing inside seemed to be bad. So scratch the barbecue plans, scratch all of that, go grab a pizza, do something to calm these kids down. So the guys start heading out.
So obviously with this storm, our plan to grill up steaks got postponed, maybe till tomorrow. So Luke and I are heading out to go get some pizza right now for our family. They're still hunkered down in Luke's RV, which has a tree on top of it at the moment. And Luke just noticed that his chicken coop got blown over, and it looks like his chicken is still alive. Luckily. Still alive, huh? Is he doing okay?
Not so good.
Oh no.
Come on, Star. Hashtag farmer troubles.
I'm sitting there talking with Luke's wife, and all of a sudden, this strip of water starts pouring, and I look up, and I'm like, I think you guys might have a leak going on. So we call the guys back, and Dan and Luke get on the roof to check it out.
Yeah, so we were on our way to go pick up a couple of pizzas. We get this call, it's dumping water in the RV. You need to get back now. So we're like, okay. Now, mind you, the monsoon is still raging, okay? It's still windy and rainy. And so Luke and I, we climb up on the top of this thing, and we find out what the problem is. Turns out that tree right there actually did a bit of damage. Sorry, Luke. So, right through the solar panel, through the roof, so now there's a big gaping leak on the roof. So this is a temporary fix, clearly. The good news is they have insurance. I'm on the roof here trying to help out Luke. He throws me this mess. How am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with this? That is a massive hunk of tree. Took out the air vent cover. Other than that, and the big gaping hole, looks pretty okay. So crazy. I mean, through the solar panel, through the roof. I mean, it actually is kind of a testimony to how resilient these things are, because, I mean, that was a heavy branch.
Yeah.
And you would think that something like that would just come straight through the ceiling. And it didn't. It bounced off. But obviously the damage was done and the water was seeping in, and it started building up, and then it just poured down through the ceiling, unfortunately. So
I think at this point, too, I had apologized for bringing the crazy with us, because here we come from a house fire, and here we are now in the middle of their rig, and a tree falls on it.
yeah, totally nuts.
What are we bringing?
Yeah, I don't know. And that's always the question that we got to ask is like, okay, God, what do you have for us in this?
Sure.
You know, what can we learn from this? What can we take away from this? But it's actually really cool seeing how God can take a terrible predicament like this and turn it into a total blessing for Luke and his family. Because I think they only paid like $6,000 for that RV. It was an older model, and they had insurance, praise the Lord. And the insurance company came out the next day and wrote up a claim and called it just a total loss. You know, they weren't going to repair it. The repairs would have been like $30,000, but they paid out like $15,000 on that RV. And so basically Luke and his family got to upgrade to a newer, nicer RV, just kind of out of the blue. So it was kind of terrifying in the moment, but in hindsight, it was actually kind of cool that we got to be there and experience that with them, and
Absolutely.
And be their support kind of through it as much as we can.
I agree with being the support. We got to be able to pray with them through it, and be able to continue to pray for them through the process, which was cool because we were there firsthand to see it, and we're able to just be encouraging to them afterwards. And our rig was just sitting off on the side.
Yeah, our rig was totally fine. We were in the middle of a clearing
No trees.
that Luke had literally just like cleared and graded for us, so we were like perfectly safe and set. But needless to say, our stay there got cut a little bit short because they were kind of in a transitional period. They couldn't really live in the RV that they were in.
Yeah.
So they, kind of went to go live with some family and stuff. So we took off, and where did we head?
I don't know. Oh, we took off and we headed to Phoenix to get our tires checked out. So we actually drove from Cottonwood to Phoenix, still on cracked rims, mind you, and we made it. We did good. Made it all the way there through a lot of prayer, and went to this awesome place in Phoenix to get the tires checked out.
Firebird Tires, I believe is what it's called, in North Phoenix. We are now at the Firebird Tire Center, and they're backing up our trailer, and we're going to get actually 4 new wheels. They recommended a steel wheel that has a higher capacity than the aluminum wheels that were on there. And he actually just told me that the aluminum wheels that they put on there, they get a lot of broken ones in often. Apparently that's a problem child wheel. So we're getting 4 new wheels, so we don't have to deal with that anymore. And the tires that are on there are in good shape, so we should be good to go after this. They're also just going to check the PSI and everything in the truck tires just to make sure we're good to go, because we're headed to California and it's 110 degrees outside, and we are, I don't know why I just checked my watch to see what temperature it was. It's 110 degrees outside, driving across the desert to California. So we just want to make sure that we are as good as possible. So I think they're going to take good care of us. They actually had an opportunity to sell us more expensive aluminum alloy rims that I think came in at like $160 a piece, and I was gonna buy 4 of them so that we had 4 matching ones. And instead they sold us 4 steel rims, which actually had a higher weight rating capacity at $59 a piece. So as far as like RV and truck repairs go, that's actually really cheap. We got out of there for 100, I can't do math on top of my head, 250 bucks, I think. And they did some mounting and balancing and moved our spare around and stuff like that, and made sure all the best tires were on the right wheels and all that stuff. And we were out there for like 250 bucks.
Totally took care of us. They were awesome. They gave us great information on the wheels, and we felt really good taking it out, you know, having brand new wheels on it, and our tires were fine. Our tires were great. So
yeah, and so basically Firebird Tire Company, I think that's the name. If I'll put a caption if I'm botching that, but I'll put a link in the description. If you guys are in the Phoenix area, man, those guys are going to take care of you. And this is by no means sponsored or promoted by them. We just had a really good experience. They took really good care of us in a time that we desperately needed them to. So with 4 brand new wheels, we made our trek across the desert to California in 114 degree heat, which was crazy, but we made it there safe. And that begins what I feel like is the next leg of our journey, the California portion. We'll be sure to tell you more about that in the next video.
Yeah, and if you want to follow us live to know where we're at right now, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. I'm updating that regularly, and that's the best place to find us.
That's the best place to keep the most up to date with where we're at.
Yeah.
And what we're learning.
Yeah.
And what we're breaking on our RV.
Right.
All right, guys, you're
How about
watching.
this view? I mean,
Oh yeah.
seriously.
View of the, that's Mount Whitney back
Mount
there.
Whitney.
Right there, Mount Whitney. Anyway, so yeah. What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
I don't remember. To say something.
We'll tell you a story about a man who fell in the river.
Yeah, there was that. Thanks so much for watching Rockin' and Rollin'. Remember, guys, life rocks.
When your home rolls.
And we will see you in the next. Why are you cracking up? All right, guys, thanks so much for following our adventure here on Rockin' and Rollin'. And remember, life rocks.
When your home rolls.
And we'll see you in that next video.